There's definitely something that happens when you show love when it's not deserved. So today we're going to be talking about how to forgive somebody that has hurt you or has done something that wasn't the kindest, that has just hurt you. And this thing could be a perpetual hurt where they just continuously did something over and over and over again. Or maybe it's a one-time thing that it happened once and it has just like impacted you a lot. So it could be either one of those. So before I do that, I want you to hit the subscribe button and also like this video so that others can find it as well. Okay, so I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this topic. I was like, there was this one time that I had like this guy, but he was like kind of, but then not. So I remember I told one of my girls, I was like I really like this guy, and you know, just like telling her all these things about him, and like, you know, I remember it was like back in the day when we would like send emails. I'm like, why didn't we text? I don't know, but I remember we would have like these long emails just going back and forth, and she was so supportive. But a couple of, I guess, months, I don't even know how much time passed in between then, I found out that my girl was dating the guy that I was talking to her about. And I remember I was like, because I had never dated the guy, but it was obvious he liked me, I liked him. Yeah, that was tough. I remember I was like, I felt so backstabbed. I was like, wow, like I didn't really trust people to that extent to be able to tell them that much about what I was going through, what I was thinking. And then I'm like, wow, like you really like went and now you're like, you did that? Like after knowing all of the stuff? Like that's okay. Wow. Okay. I was hurt. I'm not even gonna lie, guys. I was hurt. I was hurt. It was painful. But I remember, and this is like kind of like to wrap that up, there was like a period of time where they were dating. They had stopped dating at this one period of time. I remember we went to this conference with my sisters and then two of my friends, one of them was her. And I remember she had cramps and she was like laying down and just like, you know, and I remember I was just like, because I know how bad I get cramps too, so I know how bad that can be. But I remember I was just like, like hushing her on her back and like petting her back and just like, soothing her. And I didn't think anything of it. But I remember after him, she was like, wow, like, Nay, like I can't stop thinking about like how like mean I was to do that. And then like you literally like were like soothing me. Like I didn't deserve that. And like it's crazy, 'cause I felt like we had talked in between then too, but like for her to say that, it meant that there's definitely something that happens when you show love when it's not deserved, right? There's something that happens there. And I just want to talk to you guys about why it is beneficial for us to do that and what it does when we do that and how we can actually do it, because it's not easy. It's how do we get to that point when someone may have done something to hurt us, and then now we're, get to a point where we're like, okay, well, I can show you love, or I can forgive you, I can let it go. How do we get to that point, and why should we? So first we're gonna start with why should we do it? The first reason is that it is more for us than it is for them. And I feel like we probably hear that a lot, but it is so true. When we let go, when we forgive somebody and just like say, I am not gonna hold on to this thing anymore, it is 1000% more kind to ourselves to say, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna keep ruminating over this thing over and over in my mind of how they hurt me or of how this thing happened. I'm not gonna allow it to impact how I interact with the rest of the world, or even interact with myself, or believe the thoughts that maybe this thing is making me believe that I'm not enough, that blah, blah, blah. I'm not gonna torture myself that way. So I am letting this thing go. It's more for me. And yes, it absolutely is for them too, because we're supposed to love, for sure. But we also have to love ourselves. And by loving ourselves, a part of that is to not allow things to fester in our hearts and in our minds. We have to allow ourselves to let these things go. And that leads to the second reason. When we love the other person, it actually kills the weeds that were planted. Now, what does that mean? When something happens to us that might be negative, weeds are planted, and that weed might be self-doubt. I am abandoned, or I am not enough, or I can't do it. All of these limiting beliefs come and they can get planted in our hearts and in our minds. But when we fill it up with something so amazing, so sweet, so beautiful, so pure as love, it means that the healthy beliefs and the negative beliefs cannot survive at the same time. The healthy one will have to outweigh the negative because we're feeding ourselves with more of the healthy. When we give love to ourselves and love to others, that negative belief has got to go. So how do we actually go about doing it? Now that we know that it's beneficial and it's so good for us, how do we do it? So the first step is to realize and think about, was this thing that this person did, was it intentionally to hurt me or was it unintentional? If the hurt was unintentional, I want us to apply the strategy of grace. And I know that is hard. If you're unfamiliar with that concept of grace, have you ever had a bill that maybe was late, or maybe there's a doctor's appointment and they say, okay, yes, there's a 15-minute grace period. It means, I know that you did something wrong. You came a little bit late, or you're paying your bill a little bit late, but I'm offering this period even though you didn't do anything. There's nothing that you did to deserve that. Nothing that you did to deserve me offering you this grace, but I'm doing it anyway just because I know things come up. People are human. Maybe you had something happen in your family, your life, and you weren't really thinking. Things happen. And that's the same type of grace that we need to offer to others. I actually talked about it for ourselves in our self-forgiveness video of how we need to offer grace to ourselves because we're all human and we all mess up. It is the same thing for other people. Other people, they may do things that they don't realize is actually causing pain to us. They may think that that thing is bad or not good, but they may not realize how bad that thing is actually causing pain to us. So it's offering that grace and saying, okay, I know no one is perfect. People make mistakes. People may do things that they don't mean, say things they don't mean, and it's okay. What I can do now is offer them grace and communicate to them, hey, like, what you did, that hurt a lot. And if it was unintentional, that person would probably be like, wow, I had no idea. Even if they might be like, wow, like that was a little bit sensitive, or I can't believe you got hurt by that. It does not diminish your feelings. I wanna make sure that you know that too. If the thing was intentional, what I want you to do is to try to offer some compassion. And that is hard. And I want to use the example of maybe you were bullied and that person is intentionally trying to get under your skin and trying to do something that is just not nice. He's trying to make you upset. Usually when that happens, if not 99.9, I don't even know if it's time that this is not the case. But when somebody is hurting you intentionally, it is coming from a place of hurt themselves. It is. It's coming from a place of, I am not happy in my life, or there's something in me that that absolutely I have not dealt with, and now I am spewing it out to other people. Whoever I can get in contact with, I'm spewing that venom to them. And it might not be as drastic as like perpetual bullying. It might be a one-time thing. Maybe somebody on the road and they're like, oh, I'm gonna cut this person off. Usually that person, there was something that happened at home, at the job, in their mind, whatever, that has caused them to be upset. So now I'm gonna hurt somebody else. I'm gonna do this thing. Compassion is saying, gosh, like there must really be something happening in your heart, in your mind, and gosh, that it must not feel good. That is offering compassion. The second way that we can do this is by understanding that loving somebody and forgiving somebody does not mean that you actually have to reconnect with them. It can be two different things. You can say, I forgive you and I love you, but I don't have to be in your presence all the time. So I want to free you of that. If you feel like, oh my gosh, it means that now I have to go and like reconnect, we have to be best buddies and blah, 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 blah. Thankfully, my relationship with this person is still very, very good, but it doesn't mean that that's always the case. There's many people in my life that have hurt me and I've let it go, but I'm not talking to right now. They're not in my life because I'm able to still set the boundaries. Because you love and forgive does not mean that boundaries do not need to be in place. So I want to make sure I free you of that. And the third way that we can practice this, practice forgiveness, practice loving others, loving our enemies, is by honestly praying for them. Praying for them and praying for yourself. Because as we talked about, it is not easy and it's not natural. It's not natural to say, oh, someone hurt me and now I'm gonna forgive them, or now I'm gonna love. No, that's not a natural thing. It's not. So it's like, Lord God, I need your help to be able to let this go. I need your help to be able to let this go because it is impacting the way that I see myself, the way that I see other people, the way that I see this person. It is not healthy. It is not healthy. And then also pray for them and say, help them to be able to deal with the things in their life that might have been causing the things to hurt others around them. them. There was somebody that I heard talk about how you can love someone who hurt you, and this person, she envisioned the person in her mind, and she would just see them like wrapped around like this cozy like blanket, or just comforting them, like literally comforting them, praying for them, seeing them, wishing them well, hoping that they receive that hope and that love that they actually do need. That helps. And that will it will transform your heart. Like if you just say, all right, I'm going to pray for this person and wish them well. Gosh, the impact that makes, huge. I want you to know, I know it's not easy to be able to forgive others. Gosh, it's not. But hopefully these tips have helped to move you in the right direction. There is so much beauty on the other side, so much freedom in your heart when you allow yourselves to let it go. And not just let it go, but to wish them well, to love them. So I want you to comment below. Have you dealt with this before? Have you dealt with having a hard time forgiving somebody in your life that has done something to hurt you? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, like this video and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know when I post more videos. I love you guys so much, and I'm praying for you, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Mwah! Bye guys.